Good morning, my sweet friends. Welcome back to another bright and sunny day here at Peaceful Bird Gardens. Today, hopefully, we are going to be doing some fall planting. Yay, our annual fall planting. I normally start things from seed, but this year I knew it was going to be a little interesting. I didn't know about the storms, but I knew it was going to be interesting. We were going on vacation and I had a very busy start to the fall, so I knew that I wasn't necessarily going to be able to start things from seed inside. I don't necessarily like that process anyway, so I know there's people out there that absolutely love their indoor seed starting. I find it fiddly. I do it, but I find it fiddly. So this year, I opted to go with just straight plant starts from the nursery, and that's what I did yesterday. Now, there were so many videos that I wanted to get out over the summer, but stuff happens, life happens, rain happened, we had a lot of rain, we had some equipment failure issues, and I've decided that this channel is just going to be chill. It was already started chill, it's Peaceful Bird Gardens, but I am not going to give in to the YouTube beast, so to speak, because it can be very alluring and almost addictive to want to get content out and stuff like that. Once you start doing this, that's not going to be the case here. We are going to provide content when we have the availability and the topics to do so. I love doing this. I love being with you guys, but I also have a life. And this is a wonderful hobby in order to share what it is that we are doing here. And that's what it will remain. So I just wanted to put that out there. Now this summer, we did some cool stuff. We had a lot of grapes. We had a significant harvest of muscadines, the Southern Home variety. It's a hybrid, not straight muscadines, but it is muscadine heavy variety. They're very tasty. They're a little on the small side, and I'll show you pictures. We had an abundant harvest, but they have lots of little tiny seeds in them, and the skin's pretty thick. I love the thick skin. It's the little tiny seeds that are a pain. So we made jam. I spent days making muscadine jam out of our grape harvest, and I use pectin. I know there's this whole controversy out there of pectinless jam and how you shouldn't use pectin anymore, but my grandmother, my mother, they both use pectin, so I used pectin and it came out quite good, or so I thought. Honestly, the main point of this video today was to talk about loofah, and I feel like I've been trying to talk about loofah all summer. And if this lighting is weird, I apologize. We'll just have to get through it together because it's what I've got to work with today. So loofah, and I'll take you over and show you our loofah vine that we grow. A lot of them got damaged in the storms, but I still have a few that are hanging on. But we had an abundance of loofah, and not everybody knows what these are. So loofah are a cucurbit. They're a cucumber tasty. They're a type of gourd, and they're related to pumpkins and cucumbers and summer squash and watermelons and that whole family. So they can, and I'll explain that more, but they can be eaten green. We just don't. I love growing these. They are very easy to grow in there's a mosquito buzzing me. They are easy to grow in our particular climate. I start seeds, and the seeds are rather large, so here's what the seeds look like. And they have an abundance of them. As you can imagine, this huge fruit, and they get bigger than this even, puts out a ridiculous amount of seeds. So the seeds are quite large. So you can see that. Sometimes they're black, sometimes they're white. And my sweet little neighbor is hanging out in the pool with his kids. So if you can hear that, that's just what's going on. Live in a neighborhood. So these are the seeds, and I start these in either late winter, early springtime. That is when I find they do the best. You can start them, I don't know, you can try. I have grown these in the fall, winter, and they do okay. They kind of slow down. They don't produce anything flower-wise, especially, until we get into springtime. So it just may not be worth it to start them in the fall or winter if you live in this particular climate. These, they start to grow flowers, I don't know, like late spring, And then we get fruit starting in early summer, midsummer, and they're still producing now. Our vines are still producing, and you'll get an example of that. So we don't eat these; we use them as cleaning implements. And I think a lot of people I've talked to didn't think thought these were, when they see them in the store, they thought these were related to sponges and that they're like an animal, but they're not. They're a vegetable, so, or a fruit. So in order to process these, so we use these in the kitchen, we use them to clean around the house with, we use them in the bathroom, we use them to wash ourselves with in the bathroom. So all you have to do to get it to that stage of being able to use it, use this part, is just peel it. And they have these kind of like stringy things that you can just kind of pull down, and it helps to be able to get that skin off there. But you just kind of pull that all off until you've got yourself a nice clean loofah. And this is what they kind of look like as they start to dry. This one's just starting to dry out. And I leave them hanging, usually, on the vine to dry. That wasn't the greatest option this year, to leave them hanging on the vines, because the storm destroyed the vines. So I didn't want to lose the loofah, and so I just harvested them when they were about the size and ready to go. And then we'll just leave them in a cool, dry place to completely dry out. And one of the interesting things is it can be difficult in some of them to get all of the seeds, because you can hear that. That's all seeds, and I'm probably planting them as I speak. But yeah, there's a lot of seeds in there. So sometimes in the shower we do find seeds in the shower, because I haven't gotten them all off. But after you peel it, before you actually use it like on your body in that, I would soak this in some vinegar solution. I use maybe like a 3-to-1 vinegar solution with like 5% vinegar, or you can just soak them in straight vinegar, just to kill any bacteria or fungus or whatever, that mold that might be in your actual loofah. So I would highly recommend you soak it in some vinegar solution to take care of any of that. But yeah, we love growing this. I don't have to grow them every year, because we get such an abundance of them that we dry them and save them for ourselves, and then we give them away, because I just don't need that many loofah, and I can always grow more. So I find this to be a wonderful, practical, and easy plant to grow in this particular climate. And as you'll see, they have cute little flowers that the pollinators really love. So yeah, loofah, wonderful. All right, my sweet friends. So this is loofah, and my vines look incredibly ratty at this point after 3 storms. They are just not looking fantastic. And they've actually been in the ground for months and months. So I planted these, I want to say, early spring. So they just kind of took over. But this is what the leaves look like. It is, a typical cucurbitaceae, cucurbit family type leaf. You'll see leaves like this in cucumbers, other types of gourds and pumpkins, and even watermelons. Watermelons, they kind of look like this. Some of the pumpkin leaves look very similar to this, except twice as big. But this is an actual loofah growing on the vine. And there's where the flower end was. Now, there are varieties of loofah that you can eat when they are young and green like this. They're actually a bit soft when they're young and green like this. We tried eating them that way, like a zucchini almost. I didn't care for them. They were kind of bland, watery, not great flavor-wise, so we just use them as sponges. They have the sweetest little flowers. Now, these are the male flowers, and see if I can show that to you, if the lighting will cooperate. Let's see. So, I think my camera's getting in the way. So they have these sweet yellow flowers that the pollinators really love. This is a male, and I can tell it's a male because underneath you've got these other little male flower buds. If this was a female, there would be a swollen ovary under here. As you see the little bees coming in, there'd be a swollen ovary underneath, showing you that this was going to form fruit. But we have had loads of these little flowers, these sweet little flowers, all summer long. 1 or 2 vines can produce, oh goodness, 12 for us. I've noticed they can produce up to 12 of these very large Luffa. And I'll show you our what we've collected so far in some of our bigger Luffa that we have. Last thing that I wanted to share today, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be doing some of our fall planting, and we'll go through what I bought and my line of thinking and how I'm going to go about planting, because this year is the first year that I have a dedicated annual bed that's in rows. So I'm excited to see how this year works out, but I already noticed nematodes. I already know that it's going to be a situation with the nematodes, because I pulled out our okra, which actually produced really well before they were absolutely annihilated by the storm. Their roots were just riddled with nematode damage. So it's not looking good for the home team, y'all. But we're just going to plant, give it a try, and see how it goes. That's all I can do. And I want to thank everyone for their wonderful suggestions in the comments for, how to deal with nematodes in our soil. I've tried so many different things, and we do continue to try things, but some of the things that people have suggested just don't work for how we garden. But thank you. Please keep commenting, because those comments may help someone else, even if they don't necessarily specifically work for our system. They may work for someone else. So thank you so much for providing those comments and being so supportive of a community. I love the gardening community. We are supportive and resilient. That's what we are. So these are the fruit protection bags that we make to protect our fruit. And I've been meaning to talk about these too pretty much all summer, but life happens. So this is just aluminum screen. This is like the black, darker aluminum screen, and I have it doubled. But all you do is you buy a roll of either the fiberglass or aluminum screen from like the hardware store, big box store, or whatever you happen to have near you. If you have a mom and pop hardware store, wow, that's wonderful, and use them if you can. But Ace Hardware, Lowe's, Home Depot, that sort of thing. And you just kind of cut it to the size that you need. This is the size that I would use for one of my smaller pineapples, but you can cut them much smaller. I use these for passion fruit. We've used them for peaches. I've used them for our peanut butter fruit. So you can cut them much smaller if need. And then I just fold it over, and then I fold down the bottom, and then fold down the sides. And because it's aluminum, it actually folds fairly easily. I would do this with gloves because it's pokey. It's very, it's pokey, and you could hurt yourself. But then take stapler. It's just plain old staples, guys. It's just plain old office staples. And you just staple the bottom and staple it along the sides. It's not gonna last forever, but it works, and it's helped us to protect some of our produce. And then I just take some twine and wrap it or weave it through as a drawstring, and either on a pineapple or hanging from a tree, it can help protect your fruit. And as I mentioned, this is doubled. I doubled this because it just deters them. And that's just it. It deters them. So this isn't a 100% foolproof way to protect your fruit from rats or squirrels or whatever, birds or whatever the case is. It's just not. Birds, they're not going to necessarily try to get through this mesh. I don't know, but we haven't had an issue with birds. What we have had is an issue with rats, and they can chew through metal. So they're not necessarily going to be 100% deterred if they really want to get to the fruit, but we've had pretty good success. We've gotten a harvest because we have protected our fruit. So I say, it's a cheap solution. Give it a try, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But it's worked great for us, so I just thought I would share that with you. All right, my sweet friends, so stay with us for the journey, and let's go plant some annuals. All right, my sweet friends, I apologize for the audio, but I was having some issues with my microphone earlier, so we are going to try it with the camera's native audio and see how we do. Now, I went to the nurseries yesterday looking for annual plants, annual vegetables, fall vegetables, and I guess I'm a little early. Usually they're out by this time, but the storms, of course, could have impacted that. So I got what I could get, and it's not everything that I would have wanted to get, but we are where we are. So I was looking to get 10 broccoli plants, 10 cauliflower plants, possibly 10 kale, and they didn't have the broccoli that I was looking for. I was looking for sprouting broccoli, and all I ended up finding was this, just regular old broccoli. which is fine. But I only got 4 of them because I really do want to plant some of that purple sprouting broccoli. And so I'll just have to wait and be patient. So I'll plant these and then I will wait to get those. So I have broccoli. I have some collard greens here that we're going to be planting out. And yeah, 6 plants is plenty for us. They produce so prolifically that, you know, 6 plants is more than enough. I also have a few strawberries. So I have a couple of these cute little ever-bearing, just, you know, exotic, as they call them, strawberries. And then I also have a larger kind of hanging basket. I'm going to put all of my strawberries in a hanging basket this year and see how that goes. I have some garlic chives. Ooh, I have some African blue bush basil because between the heat of the summer and the storms, it just wiped out all of my basil. And so I'm starting over. I have one little sad plant out in the garden, but I needed to replenish my stock. So I have 2 plants. Thank you very much, Wilcox. So I've got rosemary. I've got some of this orange mint, which is some of my absolute favorite mint. I think it smells and kind of has like a, I don't know, Fruity Pebbles is what kind of comes to mind if you're familiar with that children's cereal, just kind of in a good way. If you hate Fruity Pebbles, give this a try because it's not, I mean, it's a very fruity smelling plant. So let's see, what else do we have? We have just some plain spicy, this stuff is spicy, mustard. I couldn't find the broadleaf, so I'll be patient because I know that is coming. I also have some English thyme. Oh my goodness. So this generally only lasts through the winter. It really does start to just burn up by the late spring. So this is a tender little, tiny little plant that yeah, I have three of them. So I might plant them not too far from each other and create a little patch of it. And I have tomatoes, so let's see. We've got Celebrity Plus, as I mentioned. I believe I have some Better Bush little babies. And I can't not do hybrids, unfortunately. Now, as I mentioned, I like to plant, oh, I also have some kohlrabi. And some, is this Jacinto? Yeah, I've got Jacinto kale, and I've also got some of the curly leaf kale. This does really well for us, and so does the Jacinto kale through the winter time. And I also have flowers, as I mentioned. So of course I've got marigolds. I'm going to plant these in the actual annual bed in between my plants and see how this goes. I do not have a ton of them. I have like 4 of them or 6 of them or something like that, but you know, it's the best I can do. And we have tick seed. This is our native lanceolata coreopsis tick seed. It's our state flower. I just love this sweet little plant. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love having this back in the food forest area. It's just so cheerful. So I have them in the front, but I put them in the back because they're a pollinator. Pollinators love them, and they're just such a cute little cheerful plant to have in the native garden or in the food forest area. I have one of my favorites. This is starry rosin flower. She's a native that I also have up front. This one, they pretty much bloom all the time, but she's not blooming at the moment. She's got some buds. And then I have a Maryland. Oh, she's looking a little sad. So this was kind of a clearance aisle plant at Wilcox. So this is a Maryland Golden Aster. They have it just listed as Golden Aster SPP, which, you know, it could be any of the varieties of Golden Aster, but this one I'm pretty sure by looking at the leaves and the flowers is a Maryland Golden Aster. I actually have the Floridana, the Chrysopsis Floridana. I have that tattooed on my wrist. You might have actually seen it. So it's that tattoo right there. So it's an incredibly rare flower. Our Floridana, Chrysopsis Floridana, you can only find it in so many counties. It is a sandhill scrub plant, absolutely gorgeous. I just love it. You can only find it here. It's rare, you guys. It's rare. So yeah, that's really our plant Oh, and a cut leaf coneflower. I almost forgot because she doesn't have flowers. But this is cut leaf coneflower. It's gorgeous, gorgeous plant. They get quite tall. The plants and the flower stalks themselves, they get kind of tall. And this is actually little bees coming to the flowers. This is actually related to Black Eyed Susan. It's a Rebecca. So this is Rebecca oh, come on, you can read the thing. Laciniata. Oh, it's so good. I did not become a taxonomist and I stuck with ecology. So yeah, cut leaf coneflower. Gorgeous little plant. I cannot put these up front. I can't put any Rebecchias up front, as a matter of fact, because the bunnies would just mow it to the ground and eat them. So I can't grow Black-Eyed Susans out in the native section. I can only put them back here in the food forest section where the bunnies are mostly absent. So this is what we are going to be planting out, and I am going to get to the planting, my friends. Okay, my sweet friends, so the video that I had originally filmed of me planting all of these sweet little plants, the file ended up corrupted. So it's days later. I planted these days ago, but everybody seems to be doing really well so far. And this garden bed was an afterthought. I think I might have mentioned that in previous videos. I'd originally hadn't planned to have a dedicated annual space. I was just going to plant in and amongst, the food forest area. But I don't know, I was inspired by other gardeners to do this, and we'll see how it goes. So in that first row back there, now that first row is the taller plants. Those are all the tomatoes in that row in front of the nasturtium. And then this row here, those are all broccoli. And then this row here, those are cauliflower. And then we have two different kinds of kale. And then we have more kale and kohlrabi in this row. And that strawberry plant that I told you I would pot up into a hanging basket is potted up. I just am waiting to install the hook. And then back here we have some squash that's probably a little close. We'll see how that spacing works. But yeah, I'm super excited now. I planted them a foot apart, or I want to say, 12 inches apart from each other. I'm kind of doing a modified version of square foot gardening with this. And each plant was planted with a good handful of compost. So I always plant with a bit of compost to help get them started and to hopefully buffer them from the nematodes for at least a little while. So we shall see how that goes. But yeah, everybody's looking super healthy. I've got nasturtiums that are trying to come in. Yeah, the broccoli's looking really great. Cauliflower's looking really great. I got a little bit of weeding to do in here, but everybody's all snuggled in and tucked down into the mulch. Marigolds are planted. I've got mustard planted out in the garden. I've got my sweet little tick seed planted right here along the path for the pollinators and for me to just enjoy as I walk past. So that, my lovely friends, is our annual planting for fall 2024. And we will see how this goes. All right, my sweet friends, thank you so much for joining me for that quick update. It's time for me to get to work because, as you can see behind me, these grapes, the struggle is real with all this rain that we've been having. So I've got to get to work on pruning back some grapes. If you like this kind of content, growing your own food in an urban environment, planting native plants to support wildlife, come on the journey with us, give us a like, hit subscribe, and I hope to see you again on another Peaceful Bird Gardens. Have a lovely morning, my sweet friends.